Hey everyone, my name is Marco and welcome once again to the mycolorscreen channel, where you can learn everything there is to know about customizing your Android home screen. In today's video tutorial, I'll be going through a somewhat lengthy but it looks extremely good Android home screen. So without any further ado, let's start today's video tutorial. Great, so today's video tutorial is a fantastic, very extreme holo looking setup by the author I guess it's TpJmmy, and it is called Basics. And it is called Basics, well, pretty much because it's got a simple setup, it's very clean, it's very polished, everything's got a structured design, but with that, it actually looks very, very good. I actually enjoyed this entire setup. It all comes together really well with this dark, minimal background here that works well for all those AMOLED screens out there. And let's just have a closer look at the screen because there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. As you can see, it's got a 4-page setup. It's got your home, it's got your weather here, that's got your weather information, it's got your battery discharging. Swiping across, it's got your agenda, so what you have to be doing in the next few days, as well as your tasks, which is actually pretty cool. And swiping across, finally you've got your music. Now, you might just think, oh, that's pretty cool. Well, wait, it actually gets better. If we want to get to our applications, we can select that and it pops up with this little drawer here. How cool is that? It's got your browser, your camera. So say if you wanted to quickly check out what news there is, you can jump right into Feedy just like that, or your app drawer, or your camera, whatever else that you prefer. Not just that, if you want to get into your settings, we can just select the little option here and it'll bring up your quick settings, your system settings, your launcher settings, pretty much whatever else that you would want. So if you say you just want to jump into your system settings, you can just select your settings and boom, just like that. You've also got your Google search at the top here, just by selecting your search. Swiping now across to weather, you might just see, well, what if you want to see a bit more weather than you got going here? You just need to select that little drop down here and brings up more weather. How cool is that? So there is pretty much your whole entire setup done. If you'd like to know how to set up this home screen onto your Android, let us begin with today's video tutorial. Let us do it now. Great, so before we begin, just some notes that you need to be aware of. The launcher that I'm using for this is ssLauncher. That is because the original design, the wallpaper, was, I think, for a Nexus 1. The wallpaper fitted pretty well, but however, the widgets did not fit at all. And like with ssLauncher, you don't have a grid, so I got everything to fit very well. So keep that in mind. Next up, you want to be the apps that you'll be needing. So like I mentioned, I'll be using ssLauncher. So I do recommend going for the original one, as there's some features that are included with the Pro version, and without those, you won't be able to set up the screen. Second, you'll be needing UCCW to add in all of these different skins like this. Third, you'll be needing your G tasks, your Google tasks, in order to add in this widget over here. And next, you'll be needing Power Amp in order to add in that music widget over there. Next up will be Popup widget. So in order to bring up things such as these, as well as the applications, like selecting it like that. And another app that you definitely don't want to forget about is the Popup widget. Say like if I select it like this, it pops up like that. So you need to download the Popup widget. I do recommend the paid version, as it doesn't bring up the navigation bar every time you select it. And it's just a whole lot easier to work with. You can always have your custom positions, so just keep that in mind. And as always, a good file explorer such as ES File Explorer, as it's just easier to copy and paste everything into their correct places. So always just keep that in mind. Next up, you definitely want to have all those resources copied onto your phone. They check in the link in the description below, as well as all the different links for the apps. So you definitely want to have all those resources copied onto your phone. If it's in that zip format, you want to extract it, obviously, either using your ES File Explorer or just extracting it on your computer and then pasting it onto your phone. Also, one thing you want to do before you begin, as a lot of people found hassle with this, is that you might have to copy one of the UCCW skins into the UCCW Ultimate Custom Clock Widget folder. So in order to do that, it will be included in that folder that you've downloaded that includes all the resources. And all you'd have to do is, it's this one over here, Basics Clock New. Hold down on it, select copy, and you'd want to paste it into your main SD card. You want to look for that folder called Ultimate Custom Clock Widget. So you want to go into that, and then you just need to select paste, and then it'll be pasted in there, because I know a lot of people complain about having a white box appearing when they try and add the clock, so just keep that in mind. So that is all the prerequisites done. Once you've got that all set up, we're going to be jumping into the ssLauncher setup. Next up, now there are multiple ways of setting this up. I've included the ssLauncher backup, which will enable you to simply just back it up and it'll just restore pretty much everything. You just need to change all the widgets, but everything else, such as the ssLauncher settings and its shortcuts, are included. So if you'd like to do that, you just simply have to select back, select your little options here. From here you want to select load, and from here you want to find that ssLauncher backup settings file. Check in the link in the description below. I will include it and say that this is the ssLauncher backup. Copy it anywhere onto your phone, as now you just need to look for it. So I've just pasted it into my Android customization folder here, and there it is right there. It's ss_2013-09-12, and then it was created a few minutes ago, 12:54. So I'm just going to select that now. It's going to show you what it's going to be loading up. So I'm just going to select OK. It's going to do its thing, and there it is. It's set up pretty much everything. That's pretty cool, and it probably won't happen for you, as you still need to add up all the UCCW skins that have been showed here. So I got quite lucky this time, but in most cases you're still going to have to be adding everything in. So if I select back now, as you can see, it's added in those 4 screens that we'll be needing. This will be your home one, your battery and weather page, your agenda page, as well as finally your music page. So if that works for you and everything looks good, if all of the wallpapers look good and there's no problems with them, well then that's fantastic. But however, if it doesn't look too good, if things are a bit off, or things aren't really working too well, then I'll just briefly explain the process of how I came to do this. All you'd have to do is select a new page. This is now if you want to add in your respective pages. So say if you wanted to add in the main page, you can just call it whatever you want, select as main and select OK. Now as you can see, it's been added, and you're welcome to just hold down on it like this and then drag it all the way to the top. Whereby now, say if you added in each, you want to just do this for the next 3, so that'll be your battery and weather, your agenda, and then your music. So you do that for the rest of them, and once you have those 4 screens, from here you'll want to select that little wallpaper image like that. Next up, you want to be selecting add an image, because these will obviously not be there. Go into your preferred gallery app, and then find where you've copied the wallpapers. Now I'll include the original wallpapers. These are the ones that have been included in the basics folder. However, they didn't fit too well for me. There was quite a large gap at the top. So all I did was crop it a bit. I just did that in photo editor. It was quite easy. If I scroll now into my new folder where I've pasted them in, here it is. They've changed a bit. So you're welcome to use either wallpaper, and if they're both not looking good for you, then you're welcome just to crop it on photo editor and then save it. And if it looks good on your phone, then you're welcome to send me the link and I'll update it in the description below. So just keep that in mind. And obviously now you're going to want to be adding in each one of these wallpapers for each one of the pages respectively. So as you can see, that one over there, the one with the red sticking out, that'll be for the main page. So if I wanted to select it now for that main page, I'll just select it like that, and that main page will now have that predefined wallpaper configured. Like I said, if you use that backup, it will do that automatically for you. But however, if the wallpaper doesn't fit too well for your phone, then that doesn't help, and you just have to change it manually like that by going into that wallpaper icon. Next up, if you want to delete a page, pretty easy to do. You just have to select the bin icon, so like just select it like that, select OK, and then easy like that, it's gone. So you pretty much only want to be having these 4 pages: your home, your battery, your agenda, your music, and then finally your applications. You can still obviously include that if you want to have an app drawer right at the end. One more thing to take note is that, as you can see, when I swipe across, it pretty much slides between a hidden wallpaper at the back that you'll notice if you haven't configured your wallpaper correctly, it'll show just a random image. So we just need to change that wallpaper, and we just need to hold down on the home screen, select wallpaper, go into your preferred gallery app, and then you want to find pretty much any one of those wallpapers, even the original ones. As you can see, I'm just going to select it here. I just want to select any one of those wallpapers. I just want to get that dark gray as a background. So I'm just cropping out all of the colors at the top, selecting the tick, and now it's going to apply that hidden background. So when I transition between pages, then it'll just look a lot better. What I'll be going through now is to add in each one of these individual UCCW skins. So let's get to it. Remember now, if you're using my backup, it's going to just be displaying widget over here and widget there and widget everywhere. All you'd have to do now is just select that widget here, and then it's just pretty much added in that skin for you. So that's just a quick way around it if you're using the backup setting. And then from here, say if I wanted to add in my weather skin, I just select basics, weather, Uzip, and then it's going to import it for me into that area over here. If I select back, select touch here, it should add it in the correct position as well. But as always, you can just customize it to whatever you want it to be. So welcome back, guys. I hope you've added in each one of these different skins like you've seen over here, as that's the basics UCCW skins to add. Next, we'll be moving on to the pop-up widgets, such as when you select our applications, it'll bring up our app drawer little notification bar like this. And that's going to be done with a combination of using pop-up widget and UCCW. So let's jump into it. Great, so in order to add in a pop-up widget for ssLauncher, very easy to do. We're going to hold down on the home screen and select new shortcut. So once you're in the ssLauncher shortcut menu here, we're going to be selecting our type, as we want to be selecting others. Next up, we'll be jumping into our target, where we'll be selecting our pop-up widget over there. It's now being configured. And these are the 3 different UCCW skins that you need to be adding as basically pop-up widgets that are going to pop up onto your phone. Now in order to do that, we want to be selecting create a new pop-up widget. It's going to now bring up the whole little thing here, and we want to be selecting the UCCW widget. Yep, you guessed it. So from here we're going to be selecting UCCW. Say for that little one that opens up that application menu, that's the one that I'll be adding in now. Let's just try out a 4x4. So I'm going to be selecting the UCCW 4x4. It's going to bring up UCCW menu, whereby you can just select Uzip. And from here, as you can see, the author has been kind enough to help us out a bit here. We want to look for the one called the Popup app drawer. You're going to select it now. It's going to now import it into Popup widget, whereby now I highly recommend you changing the title. So now you can call it something like your app drawer or something like that. Select OK, because now you know what exactly it is. From here, we want to scroll down a bit. Our animation, you can choose whatever you want, but I do recommend something like a pop to center. It looks pretty good because then it kind of just comes out of nowhere. And you're welcome to change the animation, the speeds, the effect, whatever else you want, but that's entirely up to you. One thing though we do want to be changing is the customized position. Remember, this is for the pro version only. Otherwise, it'll just be popping up just right next to the shortcut. So we're going to be selecting input position now. Now I'm not too worried about changing that X position, as we pretty much want it to be in the center, but the Y we want it to be a bit lower. So this might differ according to what phone you have, but let's just say if we go for 300, let's just see what it looks like. If you scroll a bit more to the bottom, as you can see, this is how the widget will appear, but good old UCCW, it won't show you until you select the hand, which you need to be in your home screen for. So I'm just going to be selecting and making it a bit wider. This might change depending on what size screen you have, but for now I'm just going to be selecting back. Selecting that new widget that you've just created, so such as app drawer new. Next up, because we're now in the ssLauncher shortcut menu here, we want to, as you can see, it says app drawer new. We want it to be blank. So I'm just going to be going into my title, whereby I'll be changing the text color. And in order to do that, very easy. As you can see right at the top here, we've got text color. And I'm just going to be making it transparent. This is just a little cheap runaround trick that I'm just going to be selecting it fully transparent, selecting that transparent color, scrolling down and selecting apply settings. As you can see, it's now gone completely transparent, but don't worry, it is still there. As now you can now select apply settings. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much taken up my little top bar there. I'm just going to make it go cover the entire applications bar like that. I'm just going to select back now. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, it's now appeared like this. I'm going to now select the hand, and hopefully now it should come up with that little app drawer menu. There it is like that. We can now tap away, tap again. How cool is that? It's now appeared. Now what I want you guys to be doing is to be adding it to the same for the one little pop-up here. It'll be that pop-up settings, as well as for the weather one over here. However, the UCCW weather one here is slightly different. We need to open up the editor here. We need to go into our edit objects, go into our hotspots. The author has already assigned hotspot 3, that one over there, to be the open up the forecast. So I'm just going to be selecting forecast 3 as well. As you can see, it'll now let you know which one it is. And next you want to be selecting hotspot, selecting shortcut this time around, going into your pop-up widget once again, whereby you'll still be creating a new widget. However, this time around you're just going to be selecting the forecast pop-up one, as that just includes that little information there at the bottom. Also take note that not all of the input positions will be the same, obviously, because that one is a lot lower down. So say for the forecast one, I went for a 450 by 540. Now obviously, depending on what size screen you have, this might differ slightly. And this one pretty much took me the longest to get right, as you want it to pretty much look like it's coming out of that little arrow at the bottom and fit neatly onto the weather forecasting skin. So I'm just going to say cancel. So you might want to be changing the width. That might help as well, and just play around with the input position. So once you've created a forecasting one and assigned it just by selecting it like that, will now be assigned to that hotspot. What I want you to be doing now is to be editing each one of your hotspots for each one of your UCCW skins. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, then check in the link in the description below about how to edit each one of your hotspots. But pretty much what it means is by, say, selecting hotspot number 2, which will be that top corner over there. If we select hotspot now, we can go into such an app to open up an app, such as if you wanted to open up Iron Sky for your weather. But if not, you can always just go into hotspot, go into say UCCW, there are a few more options here such as say update weather. So when I select it there, it's going to update my weather just in case it's not working too good. And that goes for all the UCCW skins, so even the ones say for the app drawer here, as you can see, if I select it now, it'll bring up my editor so I can edit each one of these, and you're welcome to change each one of these hotspots individually. Remember, please don't write a comment saying that none of these, when I select them, when my hotspots mode's on, it doesn't open up any of my apps. That is because you need to configure your hotspots to open up those apps that you would want. So this author, some of these apps, they didn't open for me, so I have to customize them individually. Also remember that you can rename some of these, such as if you don't use Feedly, you can just change the static text to change it from Feedly to whatever else you want. And then of course going into your hotspots to change your hotspot to open up whatever app that you would want. Great, so finishing up, we're just going to be adding in the voice search at the top, as well as these two, the simple calendar widget and the G tasks at the bottom. Now what's pretty cool about ssLauncher as well is that say if I wanted to add in my voice search over here, I'm going to be holding down on it, selecting new shortcuts, where I'll be selecting my type. I want it to be an application, as I want it to be my voice search. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, selecting voice search. Now I can just change the color of my title to be transparent as well. Remember we did that earlier. So I'm going to just be going into text color, make it transparent, boom. Apply settings, and now it'll be transparent, but it'll still open up your voice search. So I'm just going to select apply settings. It's a bit long, so I'm just going to make it just a little block like that so it covers it. Tap back, let's just see if it works. I'm going to select it now, and it brings up my voice search just like that. Now this is going to be a quick thing for you guys that's very helpful in ssLauncher, is that say now if I swipe across each one of these, say if I wanted to open up my applications on this page over here like this, as well as my voice search, as well as my settings. The great thing about ssLauncher shortcuts is that once they've been added, you can copy and paste them pretty much wherever you want. So say for this voice search here, I'm just going to hold down on it, select the little copy action over here. Now I can just swipe to whatever page that I want. Say for the weather one over here, I can just hold down in the corner there and select paste, and it'll paste pretty much all the settings. So I can just select back, select the corner, and it'll do the exact same thing. And that's very handy if you want to do it to all 4 pages, as you can now select paste and paste it into each one of the pages, as well as doing that for the applications shortcut and the settings shortcut as well. Finally, we're just going to be adding in the music widget as well as the tasks and agenda widget over here. And in order to add in these widgets over here, you might seem like, how do I get any space? All I'm going to do is just drag this one to the bottom, just get it out of the way, hold down on the home screen and select new widget. From here, I'm going to be scrolling down to the bottom-ish here and now selecting simple calendar widget. Go for any size that you want, it does not matter, as you can now just resize it anyway. And you can just resize it using the paddings, little padder as well, just to make it look a whole lot better. Next up, I'm just going to be selecting back, going into my settings on the side there, whereby now you can change the appearance and change it to whatever you want it to be. So if we go into our skin tweaks now, we can go into our alternative layouts. I think the one that was applied was the event date and then the event time next to it, and then the event text beneath that. So I'm just going to be selecting that one. My line color, I wanted that to be transparent, selecting OK, and then I'm just going to select back now, go into my background color, as I want that to be transparent. I think for the gingerbread guys, they can't get into that background color, but I don't think you'll notice it much of a difference, as it is pretty dark anyway. Next up, you want to jump into your font options and then just change it accordingly. So I think all that changed was the event text. I just bumped it up to say a 40, selecting apply. Same goes for event date, so let's make that a 40 as well. You also want to be changing the event date and time. I just made it say a light gray, so something like in the middle there. Selecting OK, selecting apply. Same goes for the time as well. So bump that up to a 40 and then changing the color as well. So let's make it pretty much the same color. Select apply, and that's pretty much it. You're welcome to save it if you want to back it up for a later date, but I'm just going to select the tick at the top now. And then we've just added in our agenda like that. From here, I'm just going to hold down on that background widget, drag it into the position where it originally was, and now just select back, and now it looks a whole lot better. Finally, I'm just going to be changing into the G tasks one at the bottom here. I'm going to hold down on it, select new widget. But however, you're not going to be selecting that G tasks widget. No, you're going to be selecting the simple calendar widget. People be like, what? From here, you want to be selecting, say, let's go for another, let's say, let's go for this simple calendar, just the normal one here. And people might be thinking, well, I've just added in the agenda. Well, what's the cool thing about simple calendar widget is that it combines with G tasks just to make it a whole lot better looking. So I'm just going to be selecting the options here again. Going to jump into my calendars. Once you go into your calendars now, you want to select calendar source and you want that to be none, as you just don't want to be selecting any calendars at all. You only want to be having your tasks displayed. Whereby if you select calendar application, I want it to be none. I don't want it to show any of my calendars. I only want it to show my tasks. From here, I'm going to jump into tasks, select my task source, and I want it to be Dato G tasks, as now it'll show up whatever tasks I have in that amazing tasks app. Next, I also want to be selecting under due date, as that'll just show me how many days I got left to whatever tasks that I have. And we're going to be going into our parents now. Same thing applies going into our font options. Say whatever our text is, our event text, we can now make it say a 40. And then for the event date, we can also bump it up to, let's say, make it a 30 and change the color to say also a light gray. I'm just going to be selecting apply, selecting back, and next you want to scroll down a bit. This is quite important. You want to have days left dates enabled, and we can go for something like days only long format. Now if we just select back, select the tick, then we have a much better looking tasks manager over here, whereby we can now just resize it a bit, get it a little bit in the corner like that. So there we have our tasks added. I'm just going to be dragging this UCCW widget over it, whereby now, as you can see, it covers it, which is not a good thing. We want to get it to pretty much in the middle just to make our jobs easier. As now if we select back, hold down on it, and we select to back, it'll now put it behind that simple calendar widget that displays our tasks. And you can always now just pretty much put this wherever you want it to be, just so that it looks a whole lot better. So that is our agenda page done. As you can see, it looks very good. We can always just add in our task with however we want it to be. And next up, we just need to add in our music widget, which will be needing power amp. And very easy to do. Hold down on the home screen, select new widget, scrolling all the way to power amp over here. If we select it now, we want to be going for the massive large one over here, whereby now you can change a few of the little editors here. Now it doesn't really matter which one you go for, but I selected the gray one, which pretty much looks pretty good like this. I'm going to go into my advanced settings here, whereby I just want to change the color of my icons or change the type. So for button theme, if I select it now, I want to be selecting default V3. If I bring down the advanced options, there it is like that. I'm just going to be selecting done now, whereby now I can resize it just to make it look a whole lot better. I can go back now, and there we have our music skin created, and that is pretty much our home screen completed. I hope you've enjoyed it. Remember to turn on your hotspots mode to prevent anything else from opening. So thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, as well as to please subscribe to the mycolorscreen channel if you haven't already, as we always enjoy helping you guys out. Also, don't forget to check out our Facebook, Google+, Twitter community and Instagram community, just to see other like-minded home screen customizers just like you. And believe me, those communities are getting huge. So thank you very much guys for watching. Marco here from mycolorscreen, and as always, don't stop customizing.